Hey, welcome back. Fall is in full swing. Colors are changing. Now it's the time to start working on these deciduous trees, which, but not all of them are ready yet. This is the Japanese maple that was repotted in late summer. It changed color, but the leaves are still very much strongly attached. And if you see here, right in the middle, it's all still green. So it's just starting to change color. This blood good Japanese maple that was the subject of the wedge cut video is still starting to change. Some of the leaves are really spent or diseased, or these are starting to fall, but for the most part still early. Now the work to be done here is to remove the leaves once all the pigments and whatever the tree can reabsorb from the leaves are done. So at this time now the leaves are on this Rhamnus cathartica, the leaves are falling really easily. So we will be working on this one, but these two are still not the time to work. Maybe a week or two more, I don't know. Winter is coming, of course, here in Montreal, and I feel confident that this tree, even if it stays outdoors, which I'm not sure if it will or will not, it's a very strong tree. This can stay outdoors, and it may stay. But this, considering that they will work a little later, it shouldn't impact the winter hardiness, because the leaves, all that the plant could absorb from the leaves was absorbed, and it's not really photosynthesizing anymore. So whatever winter hardiness is accumulated on the roots and in the vascular system is there already. But still, in any case, these maples will go into the cold frame and will stay above freezing, because the winter here is just too harsh. Now this is an invasive species, and it's so extremely strong that even if it stays outside, it's okay. But again, this type of work doesn't impact the winter hardiness. What it does allow us to do, working at this time, once the plant already reabsorbed all the nutrients from the leaves, is that the plant still reorganizing the resources within the vascular system, reallocating them. So this is a particularly good time to do this work, especially actually for maples, which are species that have high water mobility, and so when you work on them on spring, they may bleed a lot, and the lost sap is actually taking with it all the nutrients that were stored in the fall to allow the first flush to be successful. So it's better to work on this now in the fall. This is not a species that loses sap, high water mobility species, but it's still, you can work on it. It doesn't make much a difference, but I could work on it in the spring as well. I will discuss this tree a little more as I present it, and then I'll put it in a time lapse, the actual work. But this is a tree that was collected in my garden. So for now, all I wanted to do is show this tree. As you can see, it's extremely green still, and the other two. So it's not quite yet time, even though we're in Montreal, and the temperatures at night are hovering around the 2 and 4 degrees. During the day this week they started to not pass above 10 or 12, but up until last week, during the day we still had 17-18 degrees. It's been a mild fall. We had a couple of big rainstorms, but it's been also fairly dryish, which is very good considering the late summer reports that some of these species had. So I'm fully confident that it was the right decision to perform this late summer repot. It's looking gorgeous, this one. I'm still not quite sure how to make it look like a real tree in nature. It's still very small, but I like it. So let's work now on this one then. So this tree was, as I said, was collected in the garden here. It's an invasive species and it was a weed growing here. What attracted me to collecting this tree when I did so are all these branches that you can see here that are naturally falling down. All of this is new stuff after it was potted for the first time, but you see all these branches, they are all dropping naturally, and I didn't do this. It's naturally like this. So let's defoliate this, and the leaves fall really easily. There is no resistance to removing the leaves. They really fall, not quite like that, but simply like this. Essentially the plant already sent the signal to get rid of them. It has some interesting base here with a body that is almost radial. I will further cut some of these roots perhaps in the future. There are some here, and here. The branches are quite flexible. What attracted me the most to this tree is the shape of this, the unusual shape, direction in which these branches come out of the main trunk. It was like this from the start, and I want to try to maintain this natural look. So in fact, as I style this, I'll be bringing the other branches down to maintain this style, although I recognize that this is not what a usual deciduous tree would look like, but this is how this tree grows. Okay, so this is the final result. I'll show it in a moment. My camera ran out of battery and I didn't notice. I thought it had more battery than it actually had. So let me show you the tree and a few details on it. This is how it looks. Now, this tree is not supposed to look like a pine or like an alpine tree, but like I said in the beginning, these angles here are all natural. This here. Because of that, this is what attracted me to collect this tree, and I want to carry on this idea. And it's an unusual deciduous tree because we're so close to Halloween, it will be called the Halloween tree, and it's kind of spooky like that. But the one thing that I want to show you is about this wiring here. For example, I made a loop here, and then I carry over double, and then I split it into two. I cross this bigger wire here on purpose to give it an anchor point, and there's one more place where I did that. Here. So again, the loop crossing this thicker wire that ends there, and then it comes into two and separates on each. Just a little idea of what you can do with your wire. So we'll see how it looks next year, where it sprouts. This spooky unusual deciduous tree, and that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching, and until